and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about Jack Grealish. Now Jack Grealish is a player that has been linked to Manchester United quite a lot, and it does look likely that Jack Grealish will come to Manchester United in the summer, even though it looks more likely that Paul Pogba will stay, and we have the arrival of Bruno Fernandes in January, which sparks some questions. Do Manchester United need Jack Grealish? Where would Jack Grealish fit in the midfield? Can Jack Grealish, Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes play together? Do Manchester United need Jack Grealish? Loads of questions. People say we don't need him, people say it's not a priority, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how Jack Grealish would fit into Manchester United, why Manchester United need Jack Grealish, and how he can play with Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes, and answering your questions. So make sure to hit that like button and subscribe down below if you're new so you don't miss daily Manchester United related content from me. Now first things first, what would Jack Grealish's role at Manchester United be, and why exactly do we need him? Now this is Manchester United's strongest 11. You know, the 11 that played against Sheffield United and won 3-0, the 11 that played against Brighton and won 3-0, the 11 that came on against Norwich and completely changed the game. Now this is our strongest 11. Matic, Bruno, Pogba, pretty solid midfield. Grealish is not good enough to get to that midfield, and I agree with you because he can't play holding. Pogba and Bruno are better players than Grealish. So I understand when people say why do we need Grealish, but remember when Pogba and Bruno are not playing. When we took Pogba and Bruno off against Brighton, we collapsed. Pereira not good enough. When we played Norwich and Pogba and Bruno weren't on together, you know, we just didn't look up to it. As soon as Pogba and Bruno are off the pitch, the team collapses. Yeah, we're amazing when Pogba and Bruno are playing. You know, the second half versus Spurs, Pogba and Bruno together, amazing. Yeah, but when Pogba and Bruno aren't playing together, when we put Pereira on, you know, and I like Pereira, but he's just not good enough, the team collapses, and that's exactly why we need Grealish, because we need depth. You cannot expect Pogba and Bruno to play every minute, week in, week out, without getting an injury. Because if they get an injury, you've got to put a Pereira on. That's going to cause some problems. And that's exactly why we need Jack Grealish, because he's a player that adds depth. Look at Manchester City. They have De Bruyne, Silva, David Silva and Foden that can all play in that cam position. They've got a lot of quality and depth. So if De Bruyne gets injured, they've got David Silva. They can always put Bernardo Silva in there. But if Bruno gets injured, yeah, we can maybe move Pogba up. But then, you know, we might have to play Pereira. Do we want to play Pereira? Probably not. But if Bruno gets injured, you can play Jack Grealish. And that's Jack Grealish's whole role at Manchester United. I think Ollie knows that we need depth in that creative midfield area, because we can't just rely on Bruno and Pogba for a full season, because we know what, if Pogba goes, if Bruno goes, what exactly is going to happen to Manchester United? It's going to be Manchester United in the Burnley game if we have to play Pereira. So I think that's exactly why we need Jack Grealish, and that his whole role at Manchester United will be like to build up numbers, add depth, because you know what? David Silva's a class player, but he doesn't play week in, week out, because they have De Bruyne. We've got Bruno Fernandes, and now we've got Grealish on our bench rather than Pereira on our bench, which means we can rotate more. If there's an injury, we're not going to completely collapse. And that's going to be Grealish's whole role. Grealish can play left wing, left mid, left attacking mid, cam, but I don't think he can play much deeper. Now, how exactly would Manchester United line up with Jack Grealish? So obviously this is our strongest lineup on the screen, the Sheffield United lineup. Where would Grealish fit in? Well, if we needed to rest Bruno, Grealish can go in that number 10 role. If we took Pogba and Bruno off, again, Grealish can go in that number 10 role. You can put maybe a Fred in there alongside Matic if we wanted to rest them both. If you take just Fernandes off, Grealish in the number 10. If you take just Pogba off, Fernandes can maybe move back, Grealish can go in the number 10. And even if you took Rashford off, Grealish can play on the left. And if you look at Manchester United's sub-bench and you look at Manchester City's sub-bench, Manchester City's sub-bench, a lot of them are getting our first team. And I think we've got a good initial first 11. If you put Sancho and Ndidi in that first 11, class first 11, just because Matic is aging. I think Matic is doing a good job, yeah. But then it's the bench, and I think we need 2 good players for the squad and a better bench. Manchester United could also play the 4-3-3, where Grealish could play on the left, and then you could play Bruno, Pogba, Matic is very attacking style of football. If Rashford needed a rest, if Rashford was injured, you can play Grealish on the left, but you can also put Bruno on the right, play Jack Grealish as a cam, and you could do Grealish, Pogba, Matic. But like, that's an example of how we could do the 4-3-3 and include all 4. But obviously Rashford would most likely play on the left, but Grealish can go into Rashford's role and Bruno Fernandes' role if we need to rotate if there's an injury, because we're not going to go a full season without either Rashford, Bruno and Pogba picking up an injury, and that's where Jack Grealish comes in, because he can cover sort of all 3 roles to an extent. Now, if we did the 4-1-2-1-2 diamond formation, we could actually play Jack Grealish, Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes all in the same position quite comfortably. Now Jack Grealish would probably be the number 10. Now Bruno Fernandes at Sporting Lisbon was actually a number 8, which he was just a little bit deeper than the number 10, and you see with Bruno, he comes back quite deep and defends a lot. So I think it would be Jack Grealish, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, Nemanja Matic, and you could play all 4 of them together. Yes, it's a narrow formation, but we've seen us do it against Everton. You know, that would be a brilliant midfield. For Matic would be holding, Pogba would be a little bit deeper than Bruno, and Bruno and Jack would provide creativity to Rashford and Martial. That would be split strikers. And you know what, I could see Ole maybe doing this once in a while, because you know Pep Guardiola, he changes his formation up every now and then. I could see Manchester United doing that, and I think that's the way that all 3 of those midfielders can play together. I think Jack Grealish's priority role will be a backup, depth and numbers, kind of Bernardo Silva kind of role, because you know Bernardo Silva, he can come on the right, he can come as a cam. I think that's going to be Jack Grealish's main role, kind of the Bernardo Silva role, but I think there'll be games where they'll all play together. There might even be times where we put Bruno on the right and Grealish at cam, and we play Bruno, Pogba and Grealish together in the 4-2-3-1. It could generally be if Greenwood got injured and we didn't feel like putting James there, or Sancho got injured and we get Sancho. It could be Martial, Bruno, Rashford, and then you got Grealish, Pogba, Matic, and then obviously the same back 4. But there's so many different ways that Jack Grealish fits into Manchester United. And obviously I'm a big fan of Jack Grealish. I want Manchester United to get a creative midfielder, whether it be Jack Grealish, Donny van de Beek, Buendia, because I just think we need a Bernardo Silva kind of player. A player that's not going to start week in, week out, that can, you know, play as a number 10, can play on the wing, can add creativity off the bench. Meaning when we take Pogba off, the whole squad doesn't just collapse. And I think that's exactly what Manchester United need. And I think that will be Jack Grealish's priority role. He can play with Pogba and Bruno Fernandes, but I think the ideal role is we need a player that can come off the bench. We need a player to add depth and numbers, because if there's an injury, we collapse. And I think as we saw versus Brighton, when we took Pogba and Fernandes off, team collapsed. As we saw versus Norwich, our second 11 is not good enough, and I think that's exactly why we need Jack Grealish. So if you enjoyed this video and you agree with my points, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. Let me know your opinion on Jack Grealish. Do you want to see him at Manchester United next season, or is it an attacking midfielder you'd rather see like Havertz, Buendia, Donny van de Beek? Who would you like to see at Manchester United next season? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe, share this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.